Hey everyone, today is day 5 of solving a Leetcode question every day. So I actually went ahead and already solved this problem, but I'm just going to go over the solution since it took me like 40 minutes to solve it. But anyways, this problem is called top k frequent element, so it's another medium problem. Given an integer array nums and an integer k, return the k most frequent elements. You may return the answer in any order. So for the first example, we want two of the most frequent elements, so we're returning 1 and 2 since 1 is a count of 3 and 2 is a count of 2. Next example, we want one of the most frequent elements. We just return 1 since it's the only element in the array. So for some of the constraints, there's always going to be a unique answer. K is going to be in the range of 1, and the max value it can be is the number of unique elements within the array. And these are just some constraints for how large the input size can be and how large each individual integer could be. So yeah, let me just go over my solution. So the first thing I do is I'm going to create a dictionary called count. And this dictionary is just going to store every single unique value as a key and its count as the value. So for example, with this first array, the dictionary is going to look something like this, where we have 1, 2 is 3, 1, 2, and 3 is the key, since those are all the unique integers within the array. And then 3, 2, and 1 are just the counts of each integer. So 1 has appeared 3 times, so we say 3 for 1, 2 for 2, and 1 for 3. So the way we're going to create this is by saying for I and num, so we're looping through all the integers and nums. Then for each integer, so basically here we're saying at the key I in count, we want to set this to count.get I 0 plus 1. So basically the zero is here because if there is not currently a value assigned to this key, then by default we want to return 0. So yeah, this pretty much just constructs our dictionaries with the counts. And the next thing we want to do is create an array. And the purpose of this array, it's gonna basically, so the length of this array is gonna be the length of nums. So what I mean by that is we're gonna have, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 elements in this array. So we're gonna construct an array that looks something like this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And for the indexes, we would have like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know this is really messy, but it's fine. But anyways, pretty much the point of this here is that this position in the array here, 6, is going to correspond to all the integers that have a count of 6. And then the index 5 is going to refer to all the integers that have a count of 5. And if we keep going backwards, this position, so index 4 of this array is going to refer to all the elements that have a count of 4. So pretty much if I'm creating it with this array here at index 3, so 0, 1, 2, 3, we want this to have the value 1. And then at 2, we want it to be 2. And at 1, we want it to be 3. So the reason we're creating an array like this is because we can then loop through this array in reverse order. And we can start returning. So we want to, for example, in this case, return 2 of the most frequent elements. So we can return backwards and just return 2 of these elements, so 1 and 2. So it's going to make more sense when I code it out. So we're going to say for key in count.keys, we want to initialize this array first. I didn't do that. So we're going to initialize this array like this for x in range of nums plus 1. And the reason, basically this right here is just how I constructed that array I was talking about earlier. So we're just saying that for each position x in the range, so basically for every position in the range of length of nums plus 1, we just want to have an array there. So next thing we want to do is at the array of the index of the count of the current key we're looking at, we just want to append the key. So next thing we want to do is create our output array. So this is just what we're going to be returning at the very end. And now we want to loop through the array in reverse. And we're going to say, so if the current index that we're looking at has an array of length 0, or if it doesn't have an array of length 0, because if it does have an array of length 0, we just want to continue since there are no values in there. What we want to do in this case is now loop through every single value within that specific array and output it to the, just append it to the output. But then we also want to check if the length of our output is equal to k, because then in that case, we just want to return the output. So if we submit this, so where did I, right, so this is meant to be outside over here. Cool, run. Oh. All right, perfect. So I'm just gonna explain this a little bit more. So if I currently, for the test case, let's say we're doing nums equals 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, and k is equal to 2. We first constructed that dictionary, so count looks something like this, where 1 is 3, 2 is 2, and 3 is 1. And then the next thing we do is we're creating this array. So the array that we're creating is going to be of length nums plus 1, and so this is pretty much going to have 7 arrays inside of it, because the length of nums is equal to 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then next thing we want to do is we want to loop through all the keys. So keys are, this key array is going to equal to 1, 2, 3, and we're saying array at the value of the current key. So at 3, so in 0, 1, 2, 3, we just want to append the key, which is 1. So then if we do that again for 2, it's going to be array at the value of 2. So that's 2. We just want to append 2 there. And then array at, so now we're currently at key 3. So at the value of 3, that's 1. So at index 1, we want to append the key, which is 3. And then the next thing we want to do here is loop through in reverse. So we start over here at this array, and then we check is the length of the array not equal to 0. In this case, it is equal to 0, so we just skip. It's equal to 0 again, so we skip. It's equal to 0 again, so we skip. So now we're at an array where the length is not equal to 0. The length is equal to 1. So now we want to loop through each individual element in this array. And the reason why we're doing that is there could be a possibility where, for example, 2 was also to appear 3 times. And if that was the case, we want to append to the output both 1 and 2, not just 1. So we're going to loop through all the items in the specific array. In this case, there's only a 1. So to the output, we're going to append 1. And now we can check, so k is equal to 2, the length of the output is not equal to 2, so we don't execute this return statement. We go back here, so now we go back 1, so the length of the array is not equal to 0 because there's an element in there, so now we want to loop through all the elements in there and we output 2. And now the element is equal to, so the length of the output is equal to k, so now we want to return the output. So yeah. The time complexity of this algorithm is equal to O of n, and the reason why it's equal to O of n is because, so here we're looping through all the integers and nums, so this is a linear time operation. Then same thing here, this is linear time. Looping through the keys, again, this is linear time. And then this loop right here, so this can only execute at most n times. And the reason why I'm saying that is by the constraints, so over here it says k is in the range of 1. So at minimum it can be 1, and at most it can be the number of unique elements in the array. And the worst case for unique elements in the array is n. And that's a situation where every single element in the array is different. So at worst case scenario, this can only also loop n times. So the general time complexity of this algorithm is O of n. And yeah, that is my solution for today.